Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great because I think I woke up to some of the biggest gaming news of this year. That being that Helldivers 2 has been officially confirmed to be going to Xbox. I've been talking about this for a long time. I've always said it would make sense. My friends have said it would make sense. And my roommate who plays on PlayStation called it perfectly. He said what they're gonna do is they're gonna be like, hey, we need more reinforcements, so we're calling in the Xbox guys. And that's not too far off what they did. Look at this. A new dawn is upon us. Super Earth is expanding its operations and opening new enlistment centers. Xbox players, your opportunity to enlist is coming when Helldivers 2 deploys to Series X and S on August 26th. Pre-order Standard Edition and the Super Citizen Edition of Helldivers 2 today. Now, if you rolled a high number for perception, you might have noticed that Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox the same day that Gears of War Reloaded is coming to PlayStation, which I honestly don't think that's a coincidence, and that kind of tells me that this might have been a deal made between Microsoft and Sony, where it's like, hey, you guys can have the Gears of War remaster if we get Helldivers or something like that. I don't know, it could be a coincidence, but I mean, come on. I don't find that super likely. But regardless of why it happened, this is still a massive deal. There's no getting around this one. Like with MLB The Show, you can say, oh, well, they have to do it because the MLB said so or whatever. With Death Stranding, technically Sony didn't publish it on Xbox. It was 505 Games that published it. But here, there's no getting around it. PlayStation is publishing this game on Xbox out of their own free will, and it's one of their biggest games of the last few years. Now, yes, I understand Sony doesn't own Arrowhead, but they do own the Helldivers IP, so there's no getting around it. There's no technicalities or anything. PlayStation is officially, by every definition, a third-party publisher, even though they already were when they were publishing stuff on PC, but apparently some people needed them to publish stuff on other consoles first. And according to people, Lego games didn't count. So, I mean, what now? Now, can we admit that they're third party? Well, if you ask some people, yes. And if you ask others, no. Because, as expected, this announcement has generated a buttload of salt. From people moving the goalposts saying this doesn't make them third party, to people saying that this ruined the game. We've got some salty people to talk about today. Now, before we do get into this, I'm expecting this video to pop off pretty hard. So for anybody who's new here, let me just clarify something. Whenever I make videos like this on Fanboys, no matter which fanboy, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, I am not talking about the majority of the people who play on that system. I am talking about a very small subsect of terminally online individuals who shill for billion-dollar corporations in their free time and get legitimately upset when other people get to play video games. So the overwhelming majority of PlayStation guys out there, I know you're cool. I know you don't have a problem with this coming to Xbox. Like I always say, be a fan, don't be a fanboy. So yeah, with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's go ahead and get right into this. So this video is going to be divided into two sections. The first few tweets we look at are going to be people getting caught in 4K and looking at like poorly aged tweets about how the game would never come to Xbox. And then we're going to take a look at some salty replies to the Helldivers post I showed. Alright, so first up, Fritz says, this is just the beginning of PlayStation games coming to Xbox. Then Tripster replies, nah, and shows a screenshot saying that Arrowhead Game Studios is not owned by Sony. And then Do Not Argue replies saying, I don't even like Frit, but... And then posts a screenshot completely catching Tripster in 4K, saying, Lego isn't owned by Sony. Helldivers IP is fully owned by Sony. Try again, bud. So yeah, you're correct. Arrowhead is not owned by Sony, but the IP is. Sony was fully in control of this situation, and they still willingly chose to put one of their best-selling games of recent on the opposing console. Sorry, not sorry, you cannot spin this. There's no more goalpost moving that can be done without you looking like a complete hypocrite. So, congratulations, you quite literally played and exposed yourself. Alright, next up, we have a poorly aged tweet from Puerto Rock. If PlayStation is not willing to put their own first-party games on PS4, what the hell makes you think they're going to put Helldivers 2 on Xbox? Well, how about the fact that it can actually run the game, unlike the PS4. I mean, just the fact that the PS4 doesn't have an SSD alone would probably make Helldivers unplayable on it. I remember we were trying to play Helldivers with Blast a couple weeks ago, and he had it installed on his hard drive, and it just, like, barely functioned. So yeah, not only can the Xbox consoles actually run the game, but, you know, it's free money for them. So there you go. That's why they would and are putting it on Xbox. All right, we got another poorly aged tweet from Colin Moriarty. The Helldivers 2 to Xbox rumor begs a question. What could PlayStation possibly gain by selling in an ecosystem with cratering hardware sales and an audience that buys few games? Why throw a lifeline to the struggling competitor? Why create PR and marketing issues for low revenue? Well, okay, first of all, what PR issues is this going to create? A couple fanboys are going to get mad on Twitter? Oh, boo-hoo. I'm sure Sony's really upset about that, as they're going to rake in probably millions of dollars from this port. And also, Colin, hear me out. It's almost like Xbox guys do buy games, and that's why third-party devs keep putting their games on Xbox. Yes, the hardware sales are down, but there's still 30 million potential customers. You're acting like 30 million people is nothing. It's not nothing. That's quite a lot of people. But yeah, what could Sony possibly stand to gain from 30 million people who don't buy games? I could have talked about this last year and it still would have been a terrible take. But the fact that the game is coming to Xbox is just the beautiful icing on this gorgeous cake of irony. Next up, we have Nib. Now, this is a double whammy because not only did he get called out for having a poorly aged tweet, he's also trying his absolute hardest to move the goalpost, and he's failing spectacularly. So Gaz says, "Thank you, my dear at Nib95 for confirming PlayStation is third party," and then shows a screenshot of a previous Nib tweet, and then shows a screenshot of a tweet where Nib fully explains and admits that Sony owns the IP and therefore it is not a third party exclusive, and it's a first party game. And then Nib replies and says, "So you're aware, those are facts based on industry definitions and understandings. PlayStation themselves regard Helldivers 2 as a first-party game. This would be the first example of PlayStation themselves publishing a first-party IP on Xbox, thus it becoming multi-platform. Whether a test case or a sign of a broad change with their multiplayer or live service games remains to be seen, but I certainly would not consider a single title enough for them to be considered a third-party publisher, lol. Even all live service games would put them in a strange middle ground. For context, on Xbox, MLB is published by MLB Publishing and Destiny is published by Bungie." And there goes the goalpost, baby, moving way off into the distance. Now, all of a sudden, even though PlayStation owns the IP, it's a first-party game, and they themselves are publishing it on Xbox. That doesn't make them third-party. Dude, actually shut the hell up. You are gonna overdose on the amount of copium you're huffing. Remember last year when these guys were saying that Xbox releasing 4 games on PlayStation meant they were full third-party? But now, apparently, Sony can not only publish games on Xbox, but they could publish all of their live service games and that still wouldn't count. You are so full of crap, it's honestly hilarious. Just admit that they're third party. It's not that hard, and I don't know why this is such a big deal to you. Oh wait, it's because you're a massive fanboy despite what you try to say. Okay, anyway, now we're gonna look at this tweet from M. Now, if you guys don't know who he is, basically I made a video on him last year. In fact, it was almost a year ago now, Jesus, where he called PC gamers terrible people and scammers. He basically did the thing where he generalized all PC gamers as being hackers, pirates, yeah, everything, every insult that console fanboys love to throw out there. And now he is absolutely distraught, and even saying distraught might not fully describe it, because he posted this tweet: "I'm proud to announce that the PlayStation 5 will be my last console. I don't care to argue this or turn it into a movement. The move to put out Helldivers 2 on Xbox is absolutely vile. If PlayStation is third party, then PlayStation is dead. Hashtag PlayStation is dead." And then posts a 2-minute long video talking about it with that. Dude, this is a grown ass man. What is wrong with you people? So what are you gonna do then? Are you gonna go to the Switch, or do you mean it's your last console and that you're not buying any consoles in the future? So will you go to PC? But that can't be right, because you said PC gamers are terrible people. So are you just leaving gaming as a whole? Because if so, that honestly wouldn't be a terrible thing. That might sound harsh, but remember, this dude is absurdly toxic and he just hates PC gamers for no good reason. So see ya. Don't let the door hit you on the way way out, or do. I don't know. Do you guys think that there's like a door hitting you in the butt fetish or something? I don't know why I said that. People are into getting spanked. Of course it's a thing. Anyway, now let's take a look at that generic Eric, and he had 3 different tweets. First of all, he responded to MBG's tweet talking about this, and he said, "This is a crime against humanity." Then he responded to Zubitech's tweet and said, "What an atrocity." And finally, Japan Hates Xbox said, "The most useless studio at PlayStation gets even worse. Holy hell, is this an insult or what?" And then Eric replies again and says, "This is a hate crime against Sony." Can we please like classify fanboyism as a mental illness? Because when it goes to this extent, to the point where you're calling it a hate crime that other people get to play video games, I think you're just too far gone. And calling this a hate crime against Sony, dude, who do you think decided to put this game on Xbox? Who do you think is the publisher for this game on Xbox? Because it ain't Nix's, it ain't Arrowhead, that's right, it's Sony. And the thing is, for anybody thinking he's being hyperbolic, he's not. Eric is legitimately like this. Always has been, always will be. He unironically seems a game going to Xbox as an atrocity and a crime against humanity. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, go outside and get some perspective. Do you know how perfect the world would have to be for this to be classified as a crime against humanity? Certainly more perfect than it is right now. Just for perspective, a lot of these guys that I'm talking about here are double my age. I'm 21. A lot of these guys are in their 40s. That's not me flexing and saying, "Oh, look how mature I am." It just puts into perspective that age doesn't equal maturity. I mean, hell, I would know. My humor peaked when I was like 7. I still think farts are funny. All right, now we're gonna look at some replies to that initial tweet I showed announcing that the game was coming to Xbox. All right, first off, I feel obligated to put this one in here. PS5 owners are now treated like black people in 1939 USA. We are now second-class gamers and Sony doesn't care about us anymore. Just like black people had to give up their civil rights, we PS gamers are having to forfeit our exclusives. Now, before anybody says anything, don't go and comment yet. Yes, I know this is a copy pasta. I just knew that if I didn't put this in the video, I was gonna get a million comments talking about why I didn't include this one. So there you go. All right, now on to some actual people complaining. This is not the way. The way to what? Because this is the way to free money, last I checked. Ports are inexpensive, and despite what people say, Xbox gamers do in fact buy games, at least, you know, when they're good. So yeah, I don't know what way you're talking about, but I'm sure the multi-billion-dollar business knows the way a bit better than you do. Next up, can't wait for 7 copies to be sold because Xbox players don't buy games. You know, I do always find it funny when people use this argument, especially in this case, because Sony's push for PC has literally been, as Yoshida said, because they have to in order to continue funding future projects. Meaning that PlayStation gamers aren't buying enough games. They literally have to rely on PC ports and remasters of 3-year-old games to fund their future games. So, evidently, you guys aren't too much better. Not to mention, I love how I'm seeing so many PlayStation guys on Twitter bragging about how they got Diablo 4 and PS Plus, therefore proving that they didn't buy the game. Just thought that was a little bit ironic. Not to mention, Helldivers sold best on PC, not on PlayStation. So again, I have to ask, if you guys are really buying games, then why is Sony making such a strong multi-platform push? Really makes you think, doesn't it? Alright, next up. Xbox finally will have a game to play if they actually pay. I find this very ironic considering Xbox has been putting out more games on PlayStation this year than PlayStation has. Like, this is the worst time to be making the Xbox has no games argument because PlayStation literally has put out nothing. All they've got lined up this year is Ghost of Yotei. When Xbox is putting out a better game lineup than PlayStation is on their own console, yeah, I would just stop using the Xbox has no games argument. It's kind of gone the other way, honestly. Sony's gotten so goddamn lazy, they literally released a trailer for a trailer at their State of Play. That's gotta be the biggest blue ball of the entire year. Alrighty, next up, Captain Delicious Pants. Okay. Oh, Jesus. All right, you know what? This guy automatically gets some points for the name. That's amazing. Also, dare I say Captain Delicious Pants is what they called me in high school. Oh, God, I love overusing that joke. But either way, he completely ruins it immediately by saying, wow, way to ruin the game. I'm sorry, how exactly does this ruin the game? Like, genuinely, how? It's a live service game that's gonna get more players because it's on another platform. Literally, how could this possibly ruin the game? I challenge you to name one reason. Watch, somebody's gonna say some bull crap like, oh, it's gonna put more stress on the servers or some dumb thing like that. In no way is this game going to Xbox going to ruin the game. Now, they could screw up in certain areas. The main thing I've been seeing everybody saying, and this is a valid concern, is will it have cross progression? I think that's actually a way they could implement the PSN account thing without it being a huge issue. Like, hey, if you want cross progression, you gotta sign in with your PSN account. I mean, at that point, it actually makes sense. So yeah, hopefully there will be cross progression, but we shall see. I'm gonna look up, is there cross progression between PS5 and PC? That's unfortunate. No, it doesn't. Okay, so don't get your hopes up too much, I would say. And dude, imagine if they tried to require the PSN account again for Xbox players. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Nah, I'm just kidding. Surely they're not that stupid, right? Like, look, I know companies have made a lot of bad decisions, especially AAA gaming companies recently, but surely they're not that dumb. I guess one way or another, we're gonna find out. Alrighty, and the last tweet for the video, sellouts, Lamau. How is this selling out? Do you actually know what the term sellout means? Sellout means you're like giving up on your beliefs or something like that in exchange for money. What is Sony giving up in this situation? Plus, calling someone a sellout is an inherently negative thing. There's nothing negative about the game going to more platforms. An actual example of selling out is like Lies of P adding difficulty options. Like a Souls game adding difficulty options is like the epitome of selling out. But putting a game on more platforms, no, that's not selling out because there's nothing inherently negative about it. Except for, I guess you do lose your bragging rights on Twitter, so I guess boo-hoo. And yeah, guys, with all of those out of the way, that is all I've got for this video. But don't worry, this is just salt I got from this morning. There's gonna be way more in the coming days. I'm honestly fully expecting JTech to crash out on stream again, so if that does happen, I'll be making a video on it. Be sure to sub if you want to see that. But yeah, anyway, with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more. Join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for Salt streams, and join us every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on the gaming channel for gaming streams, except tomorrow because it's 4th of July, but every Friday besides that. And I will catch you all next time.